So we have one last question for our panel, and then I will open up the Q&A. So for those who have questions, please send them in, and then I'll ask them once we are done with this last question. So looking at the future of hiring, of course, technology is something that's going around. We've had AI and all these things. It's happening right now. We're living in it. So how would you say technology is shaping the future of skill-based hiring from your experiences or from what you imagine it would be? So, James, would you like to kick us off on this one?
Yeah, maybe I have a prediction. My prediction is that candidates are going to be better prepared for interviews, or at least they should be, because they, in theory, can just ask ChatGPT, how can I best prepare for the interview? What are the top 10 questions I'm going to be asked? So my prediction is that to differentiate, more and more companies will go back to using or go forward to using case studies and business case type questions where the candidate has to perform a task similar, hopefully, to what they're actually going to be doing on the job, because this is one of the best predictors of success. So I think we'll see more companies doing more live, in-person case studies. So that's one prediction. And I also think that, skill assessment technology will also improve. So there'll be maybe more, in general, more assessments in the process. So that's my my take on the future.
Awesome. So I'll come back to you in 5 years on your prediction, if it
please.
Nice, but I do like that point. I actually wanted to maybe ask you a follow-up question, James, because I know Elisa also talked about candidates briefly, but since we are now kind of moving away from the traditional methods of, CVs and all that, how do you think then candidates should adapt to this new way of hiring, or do they even need to change anything in how they're applying or how they're presenting themselves?
Sure. Yeah, I'm curious. I don't see the CV going away anytime soon. What I could foresee is maybe more anonymization or anonymizing of CVs to reduce bias in terms of judging people on their name or their photo or maybe even the companies that they've worked for. But I think the CV as a first way of getting a glimpse into if someone could be relevant, I think that remains relevant. But I think what might change for candidates is, maybe they're going to have to do more assessments, and maybe the interview process becomes even more time consuming for them.
That's a good point. I can imagine more case studies, more reading, more actual tasks that they have to work on in that time. All right. And Elisa, anything to add on this?
I think adding to what James said, that I can imagine that skills will become generally more important to emphasize them and make them visual. There are some trends that are already visible, like, for example, the LinkedIn skill assessment on how well are you in coding in Python or whatever, where you can already get like small badges and credentials on your skill level. So I could imagine that this becomes more over time, that people actually want to present their skills either through those assessments or also online learning platforms, right? Everyone's also uploading their Udemy courses, their certificates. So we see this trend already, that people make their skills more visible and also enhance skills over time very regularly, more frequently. It's not just a study and a degree that you get, but you actually start learning over the lifespan, over your lifespan. And I think this will be something that probably will become more visible over time for candidates, but also on platforms like LinkedIn, but also within companies that employees have a skill profile, let's say.
Awesome. Thanks, Elisa. Matthias, anything to add here before we go into the Q&A?
Yeah, I hope that actually recruiting or hiring will get more candidate friendly. I think we still underestimate that fact that candidates don't get feedback at all or don't even get any learning out of the day-to-day recruitment process, and that is a very frustrating experience for most of the candidates that are out there. And so if technology helps them to prepare them better and makes this more of a meaningful interaction and experience, I think I'm totally in for this. I also do think that this whole way of skills, I think we should also change our minds of skills are connected to jobs. The way that the future of work looks like is that I'm gaining skills to pet projects, consultancy, other things that I do on the side, and this will happen much more frequently, and actually will drive the skills and the development and the learning process of employees in the future. We are really we'll see this change that people are not learning only on the job. Yeah. They will learn on the job, don't get me wrong, but the job is not the only source of truth of where they acquire skills. And that makes this so hard, because coming back to, and now I'll be a little bit more provocative to James, I'm like, the CV will disappear 100%. And all the people who really rely on this will probably not make the best decisions in their hiring, because the way of work changes and the way we acquire skills changes. And this is cannot be expressed in a CV or resume anymore. I would even go that far that LinkedIn profiles are completely biased, right? Because, I mean, you can add anything there, honestly, or you can do 15 LinkedIn learning courses. And so what does that really mean, right? So I think, yes, I know the resume will not disappear right now, but I see a stronger tendency that people who care about talent density will change the way of recruiting.
Yeah, thanks, Matthias. I did like the point of experiences don't only come from jobs, because we've also seen, especially in the tech space, a lot of candidates coming from boot camps, for instance, who do really well and go on to succeed in their careers. So that's also a really good point there.